Hey everyone, how's it going? I made an earlier video about what I thought about Britney Spears vocals. If you need to check that out, go to Real Justice Tarot on YouTube. What are you doing, man? Go over there and see what's happening. Alright, so to give you an update on what's going on today since the racist outburst from yesterday, um, yeah, the kids are still doing their thing. It just seems so petty. It just seems really small. Because the thing is, it's annoying me, I'm not gonna lie, but it's like now that I'm talking about it, it just seems really meaningless, if I'm honest. So instead of talking about them, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to talk about gangstalking hierarchies because there's this user. Let me just see. Now there's a user on here. What? Who are they? There was this user on here who basically gave me the rundown of how gangstalking hierarchies work. This user was called Walking into the Unknown on Twitter, and they talked about gangstalking hierarchies. So I don't know if you guys remember me talking to mental health and me saying that there's controllers, handlers, and perps, right? So there's also different layers of perps as well, and they're in different tiers. Okay, I'm gonna wave. Hi Tony, how's it going? I hope the wave works. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna wave. Hang on. I'm trying to wave. It's not working. Um, yeah, I'm trying to wave. It's not working for some reason. I'm just gonna send a heart. So yeah, basically this. Yeah, without a doubt. So this person sent this to me, and as TIs, we have to know better than to take people's word at anything. But I really, really feel that what they're saying about gang stalking hierarchies, I'm actually all right. I'm actually okay. I just have to put up with this annoyance every day, and it's just like I said, it's like an itch in your ass that won't go away. That's my best way of describing it. It's like an itch in your ass that won't leave. So that's what it's normally like dealing with obsessed perps. But yeah, so hierarchy hierarchy of gang stalking. So I don't know where Walking into the Unknown got this information from, and I don't know which website they got this from, but this is very, very comprehensive. And I'm going to add my own stuff to it because I'm going to add stuff to it from my own experiences. I've already done that online with regards to my statuses and my IG posts, but I feel like making a video about it will, honestly, it will cause people to, pay more attention because, they like to see visuals, even if it's just somebody talking. So I'm going to read what this person has basically given to me. It says here, what kind of people are or become gang stalkers? Anyone who's involved has no idea how very well involved they are, except for high-ranking gang stalkers with the government, or just as powerful because money, power, status talks more than rules or morals, due to the fact that a large majority of our society is run by people with cluster B personalities, such as narcissism, psychopathy, sociopathy, and Machiavellianism. I'm pretty sure Machiavellianism covers narcissism, psychopathy, and sociopathy anyway. So it says here, I'll fully explain to my first knowledge and what I've researched and seen firsthand. 1. Gang stalking is a government. I feel like there's a few typos here. I'm going to fill in the gaps. So it says gang stalking is a government initiative with hired civilian state-sponsored surveillance programs, or can be known as a government psychological warfare, reverse undercover sting operation on the target, which is a very expensive one. It is very expensive, which is why TIs are often grouped, and there's like a rota in dealing with a specific group of targets at one time. So yeah, it's expensive as fuck on some real shit. So mass collective of people designed to watch and survey you around the clock, 24/7, anytime. Hey, How's it going? I've got Targeted Tony and Robert Barber joining me. Yeah, yeah. Glad to see you boys. All right. So it says including through your internet and computer, phone calls, texts, emails. Oh, have you? Give me your YouTube below. I'll screenshot it. Give me your YouTube. All right. So anytime, anywhere, and everywhere, including through your internet and computer, phone calls, texts, emails, daily life schedules and routines, workplace, social hobbies, and who you talk to or interact with in your life, even through your own home with heat vision, with helicopters, not just helicopters, but drones as well. I always say, oh, you're, you're too sweet. Thank you. All right. So, and through your own home with heat vision, I've actually experienced this firsthand with the heat vision thing. And it's not just helicopters, it's drones as well. So they can slowly ruin your life at one turn at a time. Now, this is the thing to remember about government involvement, right? Because they're so powerful, really think about this logically. These people are very, very powerful. If they really wanted to destroy you, they could do it in 2 weeks. Maybe even less than that. They could do it in a matter of days. But the thing is, they want a way to be able to control the population, to be able to control, I don't know, anybody who seems like they won't take to the status quo very well. They want to target them first to avoid losing control of, of basically society. So any terrorists that are out there at the moment, they were usually created. It's usually controlled opposition is what I'm saying. So any terrorism is usually controlled opposition. Any trafficking is usually controlled opposition. All of that is controlled opposition, right? So what they actually want to do is to basically crush any organic movements that might be a threat to the status quo. That's why this behavioral experimentation exists. That's why it exists. I'm going to screenshot that. Thank you so much. So that's why this program exists. It exists to basically stamp on anybody who doesn't believe in the status quo and to get them to embrace the new status quo coming up. Because remember, we've got the Fourth Reich coming up. It's a global effort. But in order to do that, it has to start with grassroots first. That means people like us. So they have to basically turn people like us towards that way of thinking so that when the new world comes up, all the so-called woke people will be gotten rid of, and the only people left will be those who have basically sympathized with Nazi ideologies or eugenicist ideologies. It's basically a way to ensure that the status quo retains their power, basically. So that's what gangstalking is really about. It's not about ruining people's lives or torturing us or murdering us. We do get tortured. We do get murdered. All of that shit happens to us. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but that's not the primary goal here. The primary goal here is social control. And it goes from very high up. It goes above government because alchemical fraternities, it goes above government. This is Masonic. So, all right. So it says they slowly ruin your life one turn at a time. Given what we know about sex's effect on the body, given what we know about affection's effect on the body, given what we know about socialization's effect on the body, keeping a TI isolated through smear campaign. Well, it's true. You said they only insure their own deaths. Listen, man. One TI told me a story about a controller that's had 3 fucking strokes because they've been in close proximity to those electronic weapons all the time. So they've literally had more strokes than the people that they're firing the shit on, because they're exposed to it every day. So you know, yes, they do, but they don't care, because given the choice between, you know, between doing this and, you know, and dying with nothing, like most people would choose, yeah, let me do this for some pay, even if I get really, really sick. But no, you're absolutely right. They're just signing their own death warrants, because if they're involved, they're part of the experimentation too, but they're too, quote unquote, evil to care. It's stupid, I know. It's really stupid, but here we are. I mean, yeah, so that's basically what it's about. It's about crushing any organic movements against the status quo and making sure that even opposition is controlled. And if opposition is controlled, then the same people retain their power. That's what this is about. It's basically social experimentation and controlling the narrative, like at a quantum, like energetic level, by manipulating us through frequencies, manipulating us through directed energy weapons, manipulating us remotely so that everything looks organic. Masters never sit with their dogs, on some real shit. On some real shit. You're absolutely right, and I'm coming to that in a minute. Like, I'm going to read through this thing further. I'm coming to that in a minute. So, gangstalkers have ranks, not in a military sense, but in a slave master caste or Ponzi scheme hierarchy. In the same ways, depending on social class, status, and who you know from top to bottom. So, we all know that among the wealthy, it's all about who you know. And it's kept very tightly controlled. It's like it's amongst people who know people, that type of shit, right? So in order for something like this to even be like halfway successful, let alone in any way successful, there has to be a strong hierarchy that is observed. Strong racial hierarchy, strong gender hierarchy, strong fucking familial hierarchy, ancestral hierarchy, all of that. There has to be a strong hierarchy observed in order to keep this machine strong. Okay? So it says tier 3, the highest gang stalkers. They're high status and possibly paid very well with good salary, new homes, new cars and promotions. They're usually police, firemen, nurses, military veterans, gang stalker leaders with their friends and family involved. Anyone closely involved with the government and anyone below tier 3 are expendable. So yeah, the tier 3 are the ones that are the high up civil servants, like real high up. There was this one TI that I knew whose ex was a taxman, and just like I said in the last post that I talked about, the people in tier 3 can get away with literal murder, and nobody can say jack shit because of how high up they are. They can get away with literal murder and have. And I'm not even just talking about gang stalking. I'm talking about literally fucking killing someone and getting away with it. If you knew the amount of shit that I knew, boy. There are people in tier 3 who have literally killed people, gotten clean away with it because of how high up they are. And yes, they are within police. Yes, they are within emergency services. Yes, they are definitely within intelligence services and security services. Yes, they are. Because there was this one time where I confronted a civilian gang stalker, Maxwell's. Are you talking about Ghislaine and fucking... Are you talking about Ghislaine Maxwell? And no, that's not a typo. Like, I say that deliberately. Okay, I got that from another Facebook user. Fuck that bitch. Anyway. Yeah, so tier 3s, yeah, they can get away with murder, and they literally have done. First responders, yes, absolutely, without a doubt. So tier 3, the highest perps are usually the ones who are high-ranking civil servants, and they've gotten away with murder before. Some of them have definitely murdered people, like directly, gotten clean away with it. Murdered kids. Like, there was one high-end perp. I'm not gonna say their name. I know their name and everything. There's one high-end perp who got away with literally fucking killing a kid. Shit is wild. They got away with fucking killing a kid. And that's the least of it. That's the least of the shit that they've done. There are TIs who basically woke up and went to the doctors with organs missing. There's at least 2 TIs that I know about that have had one of their ovaries missing. So anyway, they're usually really, really high up. They're really high up. They're tier 3s, usually very high up perps. Some of the tier 3 people are handlers. But again, the handlers are not the highest people on the hierarchy. In fact, considering how many runs on the ladder there actually might be, the handlers are among the lowest, because remember, it's handlers, then perps, then targets, and the controllers are above the handlers. So there are other steps in the hierarchy, but we don't know about those ones yet. And if those fucking high up handlers can get away with murder, imagine what a controller can get away with. Imagine what people above the controllers can get away with. The shit is scary. So there's tier 2, low and medium status, and pay is a mixture with a new car, gift cards, cash or extra welfare money into bank account. Yes, this is true. Some job opportunities even for free half the time. So people who are hired in tier 2 are the main core of the programs. As a targeted individual, I can say this as a targeted individual, right? You're going to come into contact more with tier 2s than any other type of stalker. A controller, no way. Fuck, how did you find that out? Nah, man. Nah, that's scary. Apparently, if a controller or a handler moves in next to you, that's bad. Apparently, that's bad. I'm pretty sure I had a handler move in next to my room like years ago, but I don't know if they were a handler. I think they were just like a really well-connected perp, but I don't know. But shit. It's one thing to get a handler, but a controller? Fuck. Alright. So, low and medium status and pay is a mixture with a new car. Yeah, I've gone over that already. People who are hired in tier 2 are the main core of the program. They are in tier 2 because they are hired through online job advertisements. Like, we've seen people in America talk about online job advertisements. I haven't seen any here in the UK. I got you. Alright, so, yeah, I got you. I mean, are you based in America? Because in America they have, like, you can find out everything about everyone down there. So, people who are hired in tier 2 are the main core of the program. They are in tier 2 because they are hired through online job advertisements for gangstalking in a part-time or casual basis, or they know people in tier 2 or tier 3 and types of people in... Okay, this person has written this abysmally. Okay, the type of people in tier 2 are single mothers, teenagers, pensioners, poor families, alcoholics or drug addicts, homeless people, retail workers, office workers, garbage men, truck drivers, low-ranking government workers, welfare recipients, all types of people who think they're stopping criminals or terrorists, everyday people but low status or medium status from all walks of life. So they're near Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Okay, let me know what the data rules are there, like, for finding out people's business, because over here, like, you can't find shit out. Like, it literally, like, I'll give you an example. One of my TI friends had the person who's been literally fucking bombarding them with electronic torture. Alright, let me just fucking brace myself for this one. So one TI that I knew over here in the UK, the person that had been torturing them with electronic weapons actually walked up to them, confessed everything, and tried to befriend them. I am not making this up. This shit is terrifying. Like, they really think they're untouchable. Tier 2s They usually get it into their heads that they're untouchable, but the truth, yeah. The truth is, she's from the US, okay. Tier 2s usually think they're untouchable, and they usually think that smear campaigns are going to be enough for them to cover their ass. You just heard my perps in there accusing me of lying, like I really need to lie about people being murdered. For what? For what? I didn't make the world. I didn't make gang stalking. The fuck? Okay, so tier 2. Okay, I got you. Yeah, sorry about that. All right, so yeah, so people in tier 2 are the most common types of gang stalkers. They think they're stopping deviants, they think they're stopping terrorists, they think they're stopping criminals. They fail to realize that not only are they the criminals, but their colleagues on the lower tier are definitely the kind of people that they think they're hunting when they hunt you. So, and you've got tier 1 and tier 0. They're the lowest of the low. They're usually ex-convicts. I've had contact with a few tier 1 and tier 0s in my time. Pay is a promise of staying on parole, a form of welfare next to nothing, just to live outside of prison and survive, involving, it's usually gang members, serial or repeat sex offenders or rapists, drug dealers with more drug addicts, ex-convict homeless people as well if they are well behaved and controlled in the prison system. The conclusion come to is that the majority of gang stalkers are mostly low social status, egotistical and narcissistic citizens. I am not entirely sure that most gang stalkers are tier 1 and tier 0 because I haven't personally experienced that. Most of the gang stalkers that I've been around, if they have been criminals, if they have been tier 1 or tier 0, then I have not known it. I've only met a handful of people who are openly tier 1 or tier 0 perps. I've only met a handful. So this is how and what gang stalking is: an expensive counterintelligence operation with citizens with no court trial or any fair confrontation or investigation. Yeah, so it is basically abolishing rights in their own country, and it's happening globally. Again, the point is to quash any challenge to the status quo at its nucleus, because Hitler talked about that. Hitler talked about if they'd have crushed us at the nucleus of our movement, meaning if they crushed a single person with a single idea, then they would have had a better chance of winning against the Nazis. That is what gang stalking does to people who don't like the status quo. Thank you, that's all Mike's. Yeah. So that is what gang stalking does to people who don't like the status quo. They come after us, they isolate us. And the thing is, because everything's remote, it just makes us look like we're crazy. Because if nobody's touching you and everything that you're getting is either energetic or remote, you know, if it's just a simple matter of changing your frequencies or something like that, of course people are going to think you're crazy because they can't see what's going on. Everything's energetic. So they can't see what's going on. And then on top of that, if, you know, because you know I've been behaving erratically. I think that's a combination of, I've said it's PMDD and I stand by that, but I also think it's psychotropic weapons as well, because those definitely exist. It changes your frequencies. And like I said, with obsessed perpetrators, they know exactly who to lean on, and they're going to hit the most emotionally weak, the most vindictive, the most narcissistic. They're going to hit those perps with the weapons heaviest in order to put pressure on the TI who is already being hit with directed energy weapons and frequency weapons and acoustic weaponry. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I remember a few years ago when I was in London, I confronted a gang stalker, and I said, listen, my favorite thing to do a few years ago would be to use the words MI5 and MI6 and just watch people's faces fucking fall. The shit was priceless. The shit was priceless. So every time they tried to gaslight me or tried to use street theatre to fuck with me, I used to talk about government corruption. Crickets. Nothing. I used to talk about MI5, MI6. Their face used to fucking fall. It was the best. It was the best. I love seeing that shit. And the one thing I used to talk about different parties as well. I used to talk about political parties, and I used to mention their inner workings because somebody used to tell me about their inner workings. And it's interesting the way the cyber stalkers came out and basically validated what I was doing by trying to attack me. That's the funniest shit you will ever see in life. The funniest shit that will try and come after you. Really? Okay, cool. So yeah, there is definitely a hierarchy when it comes to perps. It takes strong hierarchy to make something of this level and this magnitude and this expense work. And yes, surveillance systems are used, defense systems are used, pharmaceuticals are used because, if they put, there have been people talking about putting tracking systems or putting like receptive metals in medications for years. They've been talking about that for years, like decades. This is nothing new. They've been talking about this for a while now. And imagine how much easier it will be to control somebody if you basically turn them into a human receiver. Remember, people are being tortured with directed energy weapons, acoustic weaponry, and frequency weaponry, psychotropic weapons. Imagine they're all being. This is all remote, and they all need either Wi-Fi or 4G or 5G. They all need all these things in order to function. Especially the ones that are, that are not deadly, especially the ones that are not serious. They need basically antenna or receivers or anything that gives out reception. They need those things to function. So if the human body can be turned into a receiver, then it lessens the amount of output, electric output that they would need in order to basically manipulate people or control people or harm people. It would cut out the middleman, wouldn't it? Imagine if your medications had graphene in it. Just a small amount of graphene in it, or a small fucking chip, like within the fucking medication. Imagine if just a tiny amount of graphene or a tiny fucking chip in your meds and turn you into a human receiver, and it cuts down the amount of electricity needed in order to control you or control your moods or control what you look at or control what you fill your mind with. It's all game. And that's why they vaxxed everyone. Yeah. People don't want to talk about it because what kind of angers me is that people don't think. I'm thinking, you do realize that medicine got its start in butchering marginalized people or enslaved people, right? Like, you do realize that medicine started as a way, started through butchering marginalized or enslaved people, and then it was used to keep marginalized enslaved people under control. Just like the medical profession was used to control what went inside your body, the mental health profession were used to basically quell the public, control how they thought, control what their ideas were. Mental health have been used since the dawn of time for the status quo of people with enough money to say this person's mad because they don't believe what we tell them. It's been used for fucking donkeys, mate. Not even generations, not even centuries, millennia. Like, shit. Seriously. Yeah, and I Pharma, sorcery. Nah, it's just basic alchemy, mate. Everything's alchemy. The cereal we eat, the drink that we drink, everything is alchemy. Everything. It's just that in this case, right, when people choose profit over humanity deliberately, it leads to a lot of people getting sick and a lot of people being controlled and a lot of people being mistreated. You know, it's not a supernatural thing. It's alchemy. It's just basically using what's already there in order to create something else. But yeah, it's basically this is what the program does to people. It controls them. It controls them. Yeah. It's frightening stuff, but it's like when you know, if you're a TI, like one of my friends who's lost like bare family members to being murdered by remote weaponry, or if you're someone like me who's used to remote weaponry hammering you to the point where you end up screaming and crying and like wanting your parents, like if you're, you know, eventually you just get used to it, frightening as it is. And as for people threatening me, like the amount of death threats that TIs get, like, it's not constantly, but it's a lot. Like, the amount of fucking death threats that TIs get and the amount of gaslighting that TIs get, it's like, after a while, you just get used to the shit. It's scary, like, if you're not a TI and you're only just coming into this. But if you're a TI, you're used to this shit. You're used to this shit. You're used to the fucking murder and torture and rape and, like, talking about it. Because it's just common practice. When you give certain people unlimited power over just one person, it doesn't even have to be a group of people, over just one person, people reveal who you are by the power that you give to them. You give them a certain amount of power, they reveal themselves. They reveal themselves. After a while, they start thinking they're untouchable and they start thinking they can just do whatever the fuck they want. They just do whatever the fuck they want, like, because they think they're untouchable and they think they can get away with it. Look up the oranges of the word pharmaceutical. You know what? I'm going to do that. I am going to do that. But yeah, it's scary shit, man. It's scary shit. It's kind of amazing that any of us managed to have a good Christmas knowing that shit, because you know us TRs don't get a day off of the bullshit. Don't get a day off. So, yeah. So anyway, I'm getting ready for the new year. How about you guys? Let me know. I'm getting ready for the new year. I still don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. Something tells me it's going to be relatively low-key. And I don't know. I might want to go near the coast for the New Year's, like see the fireworks go off and shit. I'm just hoping it's not fucking foggy again, because it's been foggy the last few days. So I'm just hoping it's not going to be foggy again, because that's some bullshit I could do without, man. But yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah, and thank you for stopping by. Absolutely. And I'm going to look up the word pharmacy. I'm going to look that up. So, you guys take care. I love you very much. My fellow TI, stay blessed and stay strong. You got this. And for anybody who's not a TI, who's new, I'm really, really sorry you had to hear about this shit. But unfortunately, this is all real. This is all real. There are no days off. There's no breaks. The world is what it is. I love you guys. You take care. Bye-bye.